Shelby and I were in love.
When was the last time you saw her?
Yesterday, I snuck over to her place.
What time?
Around 5. She came out at the back stairwell by the service elevator. Tricked out for that stupid dance. We fooled around for a while.
You two were having sex while her family and friends were inside?
Yeah. It was hot.
In New York City, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. These are their stories.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's Munch My Benson. As avid listeners to the program might know, sometimes we double up these recordings, so it is about 5 minutes since last week's episode, and I'm still in the same room, and I'm talking to the same man. Again, my name is Adam, I'm in Houston presently, and I'm joined on the line by my lovely co-host Josh, who appears to be drinking a bottle of something.
I am. It's a black mocha stout from Highland Brewing from Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, that sounds nice. Did you get that on
while we're out in the Smokies?
Yeah, your adventure to Appalachia.
Yep.
Did you hear any banjos playing softly in the distance while you're out there?
None. Sorry.
That's good. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last week, while we were talking about the politics and economy of European football, we didn't talk about the really earth-shaking news in Josh's neck of the woods, which was the trial of Derek Chauvin. It really says a lot about our society in 2021 when I think everybody was shocked that the thing that we all saw with our eyes was actually the thing that the jury came up with in the trial. So he was, of course, convicted on, well, one count of second-degree murder, another of third-degree murder, and a third of second-degree manslaughter, if I'm getting them all right.
Yeah.
I think I think all of us are so accustomed to
Cop skating
and just like reality being warped by the kind of idiocy of our era that it was shocking to see. I wouldn't necessarily call it justice because I don't think that George Floyd needed to die in the first place. And so you can't really have justice when you're starting from a position like that. But at least as close as you can get at this point after the crime has already been committed.
And it should be said that he didn't fucking sacrifice himself for a cause.
Oh, yeah.
Which fucking Nancy Pelosi said. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
And I mean, the shitty thing is, this hasn't changed anything. Nothing has been accomplished other than one person going to
jail. But, you know, to be fair, I apologize for not doing my research, but I think it was over the last 10 years, it might have been over the last 20 years. There have been 7 convictions of police for murder over the last 15 years.
Yeah, for on-duty shootings. Yeah.
On-duty shootings. There have been 15,000 people that have been killed by police officers during that time period. Of course, I'm sure a number of those could be justified in one way or another, but other countries don't have this happen in them. We are the only country where this happens, the United States, to our overseas listeners. And I don't know how to fix it, man. It's pretty fucked up, and I don't like it.
Yep.
I don't like that I have a child that's going to grow up in a society that seems so fundamentally broken.
And hell-bent on allowing it to continue.
Speaking of our society being fundamentally broken, I've watched the second to last episode of Q Into the Storm, which I'm really enjoying. My wife really thinks our infant looks like Frederick Brennan, which I think is kind of hilarious. But
that is hilarious.
Frederick Brennan being, of course, the I guess the kind of erstwhile protagonist of the documentary. He's the
oddly, he kind of is
original founder of 8chan, who kind of leads a vendetta against its current, well, it's changed names, but its current owners.
Against the Watkins, yeah.
Who are both just class A creeps, man. Both of those fucking Watkins creep me the fuck out.
And you hear them talk and you're like, these are the guys?
But all of them. Whether it's the Watkins or Jack Posobiec or Roger Stone, they're all fucking idiots that just have put themselves as being the protagonist in these dumb stories that they've invented in their heads. And they think they're so smart, and somehow they've risen to the top in spite of clearly being just fucking idiots. Like, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, Jim Watkins is such a fucking dope.
I mean, so is Ron, so is their other guy. It's
Ron at least has some skills, though. Like,
yeah.
Jim's bringing zero to the table.
No, he really isn't, besides money and his little, flair for the clandestine or whatever it is.
Accompanied by dumb fucking facial hair.
Yes, super dumb. I'm glad that HBO was making a documentary and helped Fred Brennan.
I think he fucking self-financed.
No, what you talking about?
Sold it later.
Really?
Yeah, the filmmaker, yes. I
Wow.
believe that I may be mistaken, but I believe that he actually self-financed everything.
Because it wasn't explicitly said, but I felt like it was clear that he, the filmmaker, Cullen, I forget his last name, paid to get Fred Brennan out of the Philippines.
Pretty sure that was out of pocket.
Wow. Okay, wow. Well, the good on him, because Fred Brennan did not need to go to prison in the fucking Philippines.
He didn't deserve a death sentence, because that's what that was.
I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying all the Q-tubers. Want to get that one dude's haircut, the portly fellow with the greasy curls. Really enjoying that guy's haircut. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. I don't know about you.
I watched that all pretty recently. I watched that, I think, since the last time we recorded.
Nice.
We watched all of that, so.
Nice.
Loved it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Absolutely.
Highly recommend it. What do you got? Should we jump in?
Yeah, we have an episode of SVU to talk about.
Yeah.
So this week we are covering Streetwise, which is episode 11 from season 9. Season 9 meaning that we've got ourselves another episode with Chester Lake. Woo. And as has been established, this is a decidedly beachhead podcast.
Mm-hmm.
A misogynistic paintballer finds a freshly bludgeoned debutante in Central Park who's missing a pricey earring that Warner's sure will be hawked, and we're off to the races. Shelby's in the system, thanks to her having pulled a Billy Joel with her sob, so Stabler and Benson head off to her fancy-ass home where her parents insist she's been sober since the Dewey. Next up, Doug, the Vic's boyf, and Shelby's two best friends, all of whom are weepy as fuck, but eventually reveal that she's been seeing some poor musician Tony. Turns out, Shelby loved the punker, and they just boned with her friends and family in the other room the afternoon before she was killed. She sent him a good luck vid from the park, a vid that also featured Anna, who conveniently failed to mention that she'd been in the park getting hammered with Shelby. Benson and Stabler rush off to Anna's, where she's in flagrante delicto up against her closet door with Doug. Turns out Doug, who's from a good family and is every mother's dream, per Shelby's parents, is a total piece of shit. He says Anna's just a mattress, and this is what guys do. And that Anna probably killed Shelby because she was always jealous of her, while Anna's in the other interrogation room telling them she and Doug are in love. As Anna and Doug are accusing each other in the cage, the earring gets a hit at a pawn shop in Alphabet City. Lake and Finn chase down that lead and find a homeless tween on surveillance, pawning the earring so the family could eat. Josie leads them to Phalanx, a street family led by father figure Cole Roderick. Josie was getting perped on at night by her mom's boyfriend and then got kicked out of the house when she told her mom. She hitched her way to New York at 9, having to put out the whole way from Arizona before getting pushed out the van on the FDR. Josie won't turn on her family, though, at least not until Cragen gets the bright idea to have Stabler and Benson coerce her into giving them up by eating in front of her until she gives in for food. She caves, gives up Cole, and heads off to the shelter. Papa Cole breaks into the shelter, kills Paige, the woman running it, and then Josie turns up dead, having been tortured for 12 hours, eyes gouged out, cheeks cut ear to ear, and unceremoniously stuffed down a manhole cover. Josie's journals put 3 murders and a robbery assault on Cole. Mama Cassidy turns on Cole when faced with Josie's death. She gives them all Cole's bodies for a deal and then offers up where the family'd be, staying in the cold. Out in an abandoned Fort Greene warehouse, Cole gets the jump on Stabler and nearly chokes him out with his smiley chain before Elliot turns the tables on him. They get to court. Cassidy testifies against Cole, who completely flips his shit in court and has to be removed by bailiffs. He gets sent up the river for 25 years for, 6 murders?
Yeah.
Then 2 rich fucks walk into the station and say Cassidy's not Cassidy, she's Helen, and she's their daughter. Turns out Cassidy knew Shelby from their elite private school, and Shelby was going to blow up Cassidy's spot. Cassidy played Cole into killing Shelby. Benson gets Cole to testify against Cassidy, and he tells the court Cassidy's been lying about everything. Cassidy/Helen gets convicted of Man 2, tells Novak she hates her guts, and we get a "you're a rich girl and you've gone too far because you know it don't matter anyway" Dick Wolf.
So I would say that Mae Whitman's look in this episode is kind of like Chekhov's gun, the sort of proverbial Chekhov's gun, because you see her in one of those photographs when they first go to the shelter.
The Youth Crisis Center, yeah.
The Youth Crisis Center, and you're like, oh no, that looks awful, but I know her, so she's going to show up. And as soon as she shows up, it kind of all comes to pass. I think that the episode takes a decided turn for the worst as soon as Mae Whitman becomes the main cast.
I don't know. It's kind of fun. We may as well get to guest stars.
Yeah.
We'll start off with Mae Whitman. She's playing Cassidy Cornell/Helen Braidman.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, she was in When a Man Loves a Woman, One Fine Day, Independence Day, and Hope Floats. Much more importantly, she was Ann Veal in Arrested Development, Roxy Richter in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Mary Elizabeth in The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Tammy Devereaux in Thief, the Andre Brower FX star vehicle, Amber Holt in Parenthood, and Annie Marks in Good Girls. She also does a lot of voice work. She voiced April O'Neil in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series in 2012 to 2017 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, you'd be super pissed if I didn't say this. She was the voice of Katara in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Barbara Gordon in a few DC cartoons.
She's been in a lot of shit, man.
Moving on down the line, we've got Tom Bishops, who is actually Tarek Bashara.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he goes by now. His original given name.
Yeah, I think that's his real
Not Tom
name.
Bishops.
Yeah. The weird thing is there's another Tom Bishops who I think does...
Yeah, who's an author, I think.
Yeah, something like that. It's very confusing. It took me a minute to find him.
Yeah, it was not easy. He's playing Cole Roderick. This is his first of 2 appearances on SVU, later appearing in Terrorized, the premiere from season 18.
Weird. He was still Tom Bishops in 2016, so interesting.
He also had lead roles in indie films from 2020, both Tape and American Terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
He's had guest and bit parts in the season finale of season 7 of House. He was also in Fanboys, FBI, Chicago Med, Bull, and From Now.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got Patricia Charbonneau, whose name is misspelled in the credits.
Really?
Her last name has 2 N's. And when I watched it the second time, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
In the opening credits, it just has 1 N. It is misspelled.
On IMDb, it says as Patricia Charbonneau, 1 N. Interesting.
Yeah, so she's playing Paige Bettles. We've actually talked about her before. She was nominated for an Independent Spirit Award for Best Female Lead in Desert Hearts. It was kind of the first mainstream release to normalize a lesbian relationship. And it's a period piece. So
that's a Josh movie through and through right there.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Now, she starred in Desert Hearts and shared love scenes with Helen Shaver, who directed this episode.
That is a mind bender right there. Whoa.
Yeah. And I've seen Desert Hearts in the last year, so
nice.
It's
of course you have, Josh.
Yeah,
but
that's a quarantine Josh watch. So then she was also the female lead role in Shakedown, which is why we've talked about her before.
Our favorite Munch by Benson film series film.
Yeah, I fucking love that movie. So then she had a small part in Manhunter.
Mm-hmm.
She also went to high school with Steve Buscemi.
Interesting.
Who she starred alongside in Call Me.
Nice.
And she went to high school with Steve Hittner, who played Kenny Banya.
Fuck, yeah, Banya. Nice.
Soup's not a meal. You're supposed to buy me a meal.
I just watched such a good Seinfeld, the one where they're trying to go see Checkmate, but everything gets crossed because they live in New York and it's impossible to meet anybody. And so they all end up separately seeing Rochelle. What a great episode.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
So then she also played Freddie Prinze Jr.'s mom in She's All That.
Nice.
She was the sheriff in the short-lived 1995 ABC adventure drama Extreme, which starred James Brolin.
Nice.
That had a Super Bowl lead-in and only made it 7 episodes.
Now, Josh, when I was talking to you earlier and I said she was in all the shows that I like besides Diagnosis Murder, I was wrong about that. She was in an episode of Diagnosis Murder as well.
I knew she had to have been. So she was in 7 episodes of Crime Story and 5 Wise Guys. She appeared in an episode of CI and the original series, and the original series episode that she appeared in also had Becky Ann Baker and Josh Pais in it.
Weird.
And Josh Pais was playing his character from the original series, not either of the characters that he's played in SVU. She also appeared in an episode of Murder, She Wrote, Kindred the Embraced, which I'm sure you're a huge fan of.
No, I've never seen it, no. But Father Dowling Mysteries.
I think I may still own it on DVD. And then she was also in an episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, The Commish. I mean, all of my shit is going on here.
Yeah, all of your shows.
Yeah. Spencer for Hire. Yeah. She was in K2, which is one of the more fun mountain climbing Stallone star vehicles, I think, out there.
No, Stallone's not in K2.
Which one's Stallone in?
He's in Cliffhanger.
That's right. K2's the other one.
K2 has like fucking Bill Paxton, right?
Well, let's see. Who is in it? Michael Biehn.
Oh, no, it's Michael Biehn.
But yeah, as I recall, so my father, when he was a young man, was a guide on Mount Rainier. He grew up in Seattle, and that was his job for a while. He got so pissed at the movie K2 because it's clearly shot in the Sierra Nevada, which look nothing like the Himalayas. And he would get so pissed at that.
I don't understand how that would be possible. How the Sierra Nevadas don't look like the Himalayas.
I mean, they're good mountains, but they're not 20,000 feet mountains, you know? So
they would have been better off shooting in the Canadian Rockies.
Seriously, yes.
Somewhat closer.
Something like that, exactly.
I mean, I don't want to shortchange Mount Whitney, which is a majestic mountain.
It's a gorgeous mountain.
It's not
and
20,000 feet.
There's beautiful mountains up in, but it's not the Hindu Kush, you know, it's not the same thing.
So we've also got Madeline Taylor, who's playing Josie.
Oh, yeah.
She voiced Hannah Dean in Rectify, which if you watched Rectify, you would know what that means. She also played young Nabby Adams in the John Adams miniseries for HBO. And she just starred in an indie drama called Changeover, which can be streamed free on IMDb TV.
Was that John Adams? Was that the one with the fucking...
Yeah, Giamatti
star vehicle? Man, I really need to watch that. I'm a Paul head, too, so I need to get me some.
But only because you love his dad so much.
Paul Giamatti's dad?
A. Bartlett Giamatti?
I guess I'm not familiar. I should be. I'm sure I know who he is, but I'm blanking on it right now.
He was the commissioner of baseball.
He was?
Yes, he's the one who fucking tossed out Pete Rose.
What? Oh, well, good for him then. Nice. Well, good for Paul. I'm just thinking of his, delightful work opposite Thomas Hayden Church and, Sideways, among other wonderful roles.
No, Paul's this kid, yeah. A. Bartlett Giamatti was an American professor of English Renaissance literature at Yale.
Yeah.
Moving on. We've got Kathleen Garrett, who's playing Mrs. Braidman. She's an actress and voiceover artist. She also wrote a 2-part memoir short story based on how she and her sisters foiled an FBI raid and helped her father escape when she was 12. I've already put the links to those 2 little essays in the episode notes. She also starred as Dana Burns, the morning DJ on the new WKRP in Cincinnati, the early 90s reboot of the WKRP franchise. She played a judge in 4 episodes of the original series, a judge in 6 episodes of Power, Book 2, Ghost. She also pops up again in SVU in Scorched Earth, the Dominique Strauss-Kahn ripped from the headlines ep where she plays Franco Nero's wife.
As I recall, that's a good one.
We've also talked about that episode before because of a different guest star who's also in it, but I can't remember who that was.
Like Patricia Charbonneau, she's been in a lot of TV shows from the 80s and 90s, but she was in an episode of Baywatch Nights, which makes me want to revisit that thrilling show.
Hopefully it's one with Angie Harmon in it.
I'm not 100% sure.
Fingers crossed.
We can do that deep dive, but yeah.
Next up, we've got Jeremy Jordan, who's playing Doug Walshin, the boyfriend of Shelby.
The shithead guy.
Yeah, the shithead guy who said Anna's a mattress.
God, oh.
He grew up in corporate Corpus Christi and went to Ithaca College. He is Tony and Grammy nominated for his work as Jack Kelly in the Newsies Broadway musical. He also plays Win Shot on Supergirl, and he had a lead role in season 2 of Smash. He was also in Joyful Noise, the church choir competition joint starring Dolly Parton and Queen Latifah, which we've talked about before because it features Andy Karl. In this movie, he is playing Dolly's drifter grandson, who becomes involved with Keke Palmer, who is playing Queen Latifah's daughter. Jesse L. Martin's also in Joyful Noise.
Nice.
I would not recommend watching it, though.
Really?
He also shows up again, Jeremy Jordan does, in season 16 of SVU in an episode.
Man, everybody in this episode is in something. Jesus Christ. I didn't even look
Emily
up.
Mead as Anna.
Yeah, that's who I just looked up. I was like...
Yeah. She's Laurie Madison in The Deuce, which is a main role.
Yeah.
She's the third listed person in Nerve after Emma Roberts and Dave Franco. She was Amy in The Leftovers. She had smaller parts in Trespass, the movie that broke my 10 straight Nicolas Cage movies in the theater streak because it had a theatrical release, but only played in like 8 screens and didn't open in Austin. That broke my 10 straight.
Yeah, that doesn't count. If it's only in New York and LA, then it's hard to...
Well, I think it was in like Fresno or something.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
And that was Joel Schumacher's last film that he directed.
Damn.
She's also in Sleepwalk with Me, Money Monster, and Young Adult. She's Denny's waitress in Young Adult.
Nice.
She was Pearl in 2 episodes of Boardwalk Empire, where her character was sleeping with Jimmy and then got horribly disfigured while he was in Chicago with Al Capone. And then she shows up in another episode of SVU, Bully, from season 12. The last one I have is Natalie Hall, who's playing Shelby Crawford. She played Colby Chandler in All My Children and had recurring roles on Pretty Little Liars, Star-Crossed, Drop Dead Diva, True Blood, Unreal, and the rebooted Charmed.
Yeah, I don't really have anybody. Just I do want to give a shout out to the pawn shop owner, Big Jerry, who's played by Michael Mandel. I thought he was fantastic, and I wish he had more roles because he really only had a short kind of acting career from 2007 to 2012. Yeah. And he's in a couple episodes of Things, an episode of Ugly Betty, an episode of Person of Interest, but not much, and an episode of Glee. But I think he could have done more work. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a fun scene.
But yeah, that's all I've got.
I've got another that I'll talk about when we get there, but...
Sure. Now, one little aside, I was going to bring it up. Do you think friend of the show, Sean McGrath and Tarek Bashara run into each other at like literally every single audition that they go to? Because they kind of are in the same milieu.
Yeah, but I get the sense that Tarek Bashara is probably playing a lot of terrorists now.
Well, now maybe, but...
He was doing it when he was still Tom Bishop's. Like, if you look at his filmography, it's a lot of Middle Eastern parts. And he doesn't look that Middle Eastern.
He doesn't look that Middle Eastern to me. I mean, whatever that means. But no, he doesn't really. He looks just like a kind of...
Mediterranean.
Olive skin Mediterranean, yeah. He looks too pretty to be the bum master that he plays in this episode.
Yeah. Well, he's a charismatic bum master.
That's true.
So the first words we hear in this episode are...
Prepare to die, bitch.
Said through a scope, trained on a blonde woman.
Yeah.
So we've got war cosplay misogyny right off the bat. Also, I'd be willing to bet that there's no time in which paintball was legal in Central Park.
This is not how paintball is played. I've played paintball, not in 25 years, but...
Did you play in Central Park?
Not in Central Park. It was some like...
Because it's not fucking legal.
Shithole empty lot south of Dallas is where I played played paintball. And let me tell you, you always wear a mask.
Oh, for sure.
It's also illegal to shoot somebody above the shoulders. It is like shoulders down is the hitbox. And you certainly don't have a scope.
So then when Warner's over the body, she's like, it's an angle, very expensive.
Yeah.
And Stabler looks at her like, what the fuck? And she's like, my sister's a buyer at sex.
Yeah.
But why would Stabler have been surprised that Warner knew this? This has been established that Warner knows fashion.
Warner knows fashion. She knew the price of a dress at a boutique in Queens in Hooked.
Yeah, from Hooked. Yeah, for sure.
She always knows fashion.
Yeah.
I mean, Warner kind of is...
She's at the bleeding edge of fashion.
She's kind of bringing it here, too, because, like, first thing out of her mouth is fluids in the underpants. And then shifts straight into the price of the fucking earring.
Now we know that was just consensual punk rock fluids.
Yeah, it was. with mom and dad in the next room fluids.
Yep.
That's how it gets hot.
So when Warner is talking about paintballs, she says something about them being
it's like water soluble paint.
Being sorbitol, wax, and something else.
Yeah, I didn't write it down.
Water, sorbitol, and wax. So I looked up to try to confirm that. I went to paintthecompetition.com and Paintballs 101, everything you need to know about paint. Specific ingredients used to make paintballs is proprietary information.
Interesting.
But what is known is that paintballs are made with non-toxic, biodegradable, food-grade ingredients. So what does that all mean? Let's break that down one part at a time. I'm reading straight off of the site, so
sure.
I'll include this link. I can't believe I'm having to include this fucking link in the episode.
You followed this trail.
I followed this. Yeah,
it's your fault.
I'm fucking pulling on this thread now. First of all, they are non-toxic, which is kind of important because if they were toxic, nobody would play paintball, as it would be incredibly dangerous to your health.
Yes.
Secondly, they are biodegradable, which is also great because it means you don't have to clean them up after playing. They will simply decompose on their own with no harm to the environment. And lastly, they are made with food-grade ingredients. What does that mean? It means that it's not harmful if you get some in your mouth.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you should ever eat a paintball, though. Be smarter than that, is what the site says.
Oh.
So there's paintballs. When they go to the Crawford's house.
Well,
or do you have a note before this?
Well, she's in the system for having wrapped her Saab around a lamppost. So, my wife once owned a Saab. My brother once owned a Saab.
What's with your Swedish loving kin?
They're fucking assholes. Anyways, I get it. They're zippy. They're interesting. They're different. They are dog shit cars. Like, I've had to experience these things.
Well, didn't they go bankrupt?
The Swedish defense company contractors that used to make them don't make them anymore. But Saab made fighter jets for the Swedish Air Force. They don't know how to make cars. Their cars did not work very well.
But that's an oxymoron too, right? Like there's not a Swedish Air Force.
No, there totally is. The Swedish army,
but they have 6 planes. They've made 6 planes.
No, it's fascinating. I'm
joking.
They're fully prepped for like guerrilla war against the Soviet Union. Like they're kind of like fanatical weirdos.
But don't they have to worry about Finland falling first?
We don't need to go down this tangent, but the Finns did a pretty good job in 1939, I guess, against the Soviets.
Yeah, they did.
And then they joined the Nazis, and so, you know, yada, yada, yada.
The Swedes certainly have a lot of latent Nazis, if we're supposed to believe anything that happened in The Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. Or anything.
Or, God, what was that one? I watched a great Swedish show that was kind of about this, and I need to figure out what the name of it was. God damn it. It had a weird title. Some of these Nordic shows, the title doesn't translate very well. Fuck, I can't for the life of me remember it. Anyways, don't buy a Saab. They're bullshit. And it's no wonder that she wrapped it around a lamppost because they don't work right and they don't turn right. Any car that has the key where the drink holder should go is a fucking pain in the ass. Anyways,
especially if you're drunk.
Yeah, as you said, she Billy Joel'd herself.
Yep. So the Upper East Side Crawfords think their dear Shelby wasn't drinking. Yeah. I guess this means being rich means you have no idea who your Deb daughter is.
No, they were out in the burbs, man. They were in Suffolk or something.
No, they weren't.
I thought they were. Yeah, because I thought they.
No, the address is Upper East Side.
It was? Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, it was 777 Park Avenue.
Oh, okay, right on. You're right.
It's actually right where the Lenox Hill Hospital is.
Nice. Okay.
That's the only location I've looked up in weeks.
Nice. I have problems with the prom photos because, come on, man.
Oh, the dresses are terrible, by the way.
The dresses are terrible. But
and these aren't even prom photos. These are Deb balls.
Yeah, the Deb ball. But, like, the whole point of being a debutante is you smile for the photos, even if you aren't in love with this.
Yeah, but this chick just wants her fucking punk cock, you know?
Yeah, but, she wants her punk cock. These kids go to so many fucking balls.
Oh, I know. She was at the silver and white ball the night before, and then she's supposed to be at the Collinsworth quadrille the next night.
They go to more fucking balls than the Russian nobility did in War and Peace, you know? I'm like waiting for the French cannons to start sounding on the horizon, you know, and having to fucking pack up and flee Moscow at a moment's notice. It's ridiculous. Like, this shit needs to be stopped. No wonder
Agreed.
Our country is getting flushed down the drain. Like, the people with the most privilege, all they do is go to fucking useless balls and sleep with each other.
Or use each other as mattresses, I guess.
Oh.
Jesus fucking Christ. So Shelby was supposed to be getting ready for the Collinsworth quadrille.
Yeah.
The Collinsworth bit would seem to be made up, but there is a quadrille ball that's happened every year since 1961, though probably not in 2021 because it's in January. It's generally held at the Pierre. It benefits the Germanistic Society.
Whatever that means.
Which in turn awards... I'll get into it. Which in turn awards scholarships to sponsor exchanges of American and German graduate and undergraduate students.
Speaking of 1939, you know.
Yeah, what the fuck? Dude, I bet George Bush's fucking family
no, absolutely.
was all over this
yeah,
shit.
Joe Kennedy and fucking Prescott Bush were definitely beneficiaries of the Germanistic Society.
You think? So the main performance at this society ball is a quadrille where there's a fucking caller who calls out all the moves that are supposed to happen, and they're calling them out in French because apparently that's tradition.
I assume at this quadrille it's Chris Collinsworth doing the call-outs, right?
Probably. So volunteer dancers are generally aged between 21 and 30 and perform just once, after which they become alumni and can apply to join the junior committee.
They go into like a circular thing where they float up into the sky.
It has to be divisible by 4. It's usually 20 people. But yeah, then they flush into the sky.
There's a Logan's Run aspect to this, isn't there?
Yeah, one fucking hopes. Then we get the bullshit about Doug is every mother's dream, and Doug wouldn't do this. He's from a good family.
Doug is such a piece of shit, man. Oh my god, like this is one of the worst kids we've had on this since Connor Pallow's first performance, I think.
Yeah.
I was viscerally turned off by Doug.
I mean, my note is these society types disgust me. Like, his performative grief does not land, but it makes sense given the fact that he's using Anna as his mattress.
So at first I thought he was using Anna as his beard, you know, like that he was closeted, but trying to play straight.
Well, using Shelby as his beard.
Using Shelby as his beard, exactly. But trying to play straight for his society awful parents. But no, it just turns out he's a fucking sociopath and he's just using whomever for whatever.
Yeah.
Now, what was her name? Anna? Not Anna. Was it Anna?
Anna's the one who he's banging on the side.
The mattress.
Yep.
The song, I mean, we're kind of jumping ahead here a little bit.
Oh, that song?
What
the fuck?
What the fuck? I couldn't figure out what it was, but it was one of the worst things I've ever heard.
I figured it out.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Figured it out. Okay, so this song looks to have been written for the show.
Oh, my God.
So the only place that I can find it is on Big Movies, Big Music, Volume 9.
Oh, no. Is it a Sticky Butterfingers original?
No, it's not Sticky Butterfingers. It's performed by Molly Pizzuti, who, from what I can gather, she has 2 albums that are on All Music, but have like no reviews and no real notes. So the song is called You Think I'm Crazy. It's also, the other performers listed are the writers of the song, Jamie Dunlap and Scott Nicholey, who they're just score guys.
Okay. Interesting.
They're just score and soundtrack artists. So, like, to me, this seemed like it was about as close to being fucking songs that you can just, like, buy the rights to for, you know, like 25 cents.
Interesting. It's like stock footage.
Yeah, exactly. I've worked on shows where the post PA is just having to fucking pick music from, like, a service that just has stock music in it.
But usually they don't have lyrics, right? I mean, that's the thing.
Well, some would have lyrics, but they're just milquetoast. This was clearly written for the show, or it was at least usable because it was on an album released in 2008.
Weird. I mean, it was prominently placed in the episode.
Very prominently placed. It's so fucking weird.
We'll get there in a... Well, I mean, we're just talking about it, so why not? But, like, you know, these kids are in high school, right?
Uh-huh.
And she is full on dry humping the dude.
Yeah. Yeah, one leg upraised, like he could be entering and we just don't have the angle. It's fucked up. So Miss Anna's in a room is what the maids say. Her parents are in Tahiti for 3 weeks and then they're going to Paris for Fashion Week or something.
I mean, but this is the exact same setup as, I think it was Hooked, right? Where Hayden Panettiere's parents were out of the country.
Yeah, because it's more fucking private school shitheads in New York. And so the song, oh, God damn it. The song's so fucking crazy. But it's like talking about pulling your underwear out of your crack or whatever. Oh, fuck. But you can't, like, I can't find a file of it anywhere. It's unavailable to, like, listen to the whole song.
So the only way to, like, listen to it is to rip it
Is
from
in
the
the
episode. Oh my God.
Or to order, here, everybody, you can order this album.
Probably costs $45.
Big Movies, Big Music, Volume 9. And it looks to have a lot of music from Jamie Dunlop and fucking Scott Nicoli.
If this is an example of the rest of their work, you don't want to buy this, guys.
I would posit that maybe you do. Okay. So, jumping back, because we sort of jumped ahead of Sticky Butterfingers.
We definitely need to talk about Sticky Butterfingers. Everything about this is perfect.
I gotta say, I don't hate that fake band name.
Okay, here's the thing to me. So I think that what they're engaging in here is a little of that, what we call it, that Lucy Liu style aversion to race casting that we've seen in other ones. Because Sticky Butterfingers, as a... Well, he looked like a suburban punk rocker, like the Jack Black and Giovanni Ribisi characters in
DPO.
In DPO, exactly. The
X-Files episode with Lightning, where Giovanni Ribisi's a Lightning Kid.
Yeah, but so, like, he kind of strikes me as that kind of punk rocker, that breed, like a suburban parking lot punk rocker. Speaking of Law & Order universe, Eric Bogosian's Suburbia kind of fits into that.
Which also had Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah, weird. But Sticky Butterfingers, and also the name of their tour was Poisonous Cupcake Tour.
Yeah.
And to me, that is 100% a Japanese psychedelic girl punk band from the early 90s, a la Shonen Knife. Like, they made albums called shit like that.
But it's like Sticky Butterfingers is obviously a nod to Sticky Fingers.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So... he says, yeah, it was hot.
Yeah.
Like, everything about this guy is fucking great, except he says a raise, and he says tour in a really weird way, but I don't care.
It took me, I had to read Poisonous Cupcake Tour. I could not understand. I tried to listen to him 3 times, and then I had to turn my subtitles on.
Now, I'm super into this guy. Did you catch his real name is Johnny Hopkins, which means that I have to drop in the Step Brothers line pertaining to this.
Where did he go to medical school?
He went to Northwestern and Johns Hopkins. Is that good enough for you?
No, it's not.
Well, Brennan, those are very prestigious schools.
I smoked pot with Johnny Hopkins.
You don't know anyone named Johnny Hopkins.
It was Johnny Hopkins and Sloan Kettering. And they were blazing that shit up every day.
So...
Now, this guy had one of the best practice spaces for any band that I've ever seen, a warehouse.
Also, they're a high school band.
I know.
He's a public school kid, and he's on tour in the school year?
It sounds like it.
They're playing the Roxy. Like, the Roxy was a real place. It closed, right after
Legendary place. We'll get there in just a second. But they have this practice space that's cavernous. Huge.
What the fuck?
20-foot ceilings?
What the fuck? A public school kid.
Yeah. Above a Chinese bakery on Mott Street. So not only is it like, you got great food, like, right downstairs, maybe 24 hours a day, if not, you're pretty close to it.
And at least decent food over on Mulberry, too.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're talking about the ultimate punk rock practice space. There's no way this kid can afford it, but whatever, that doesn't matter. This was a long time ago.
No, it's not that long ago.
It was 2007, right?
It's not that long
Yeah,
ago.
it wasn't that long ago.
It's recently enough that this is not
This
possible.
this does not happen. Like, nobody has that anymore. Like, maybe in 1980 you could have that, but you don't have that now.
Oh, definitely in 1980.
Now, they played the Roxy as the last stop on the Poisonous Cupcake Tour. The Roxy is a legendary bar in New York City. It is known as the Studio 54 of roller rinks, and it did actually close down in 2007, so I think apparently Sticky Butterfingers was one of the last performances there. But they're known as one of the places where hip-hop really came into its own, also electric dance music. Like, a lot of seminal acts played there. Curtis Blow, Madonna, Run DMC, the Beastie Boys, Dead or Alive, Cher, Beyonce, like back in the day. So it is a famous, fabulous place, and sadly it does not exist anymore, so I will not be able to go there.
Everything good in New York died.
Yeah, I mean, but that's how it is everywhere. Everything good from the 70s and 80s died, but now there's an opportunity for new things that are nice to be formed. But good on them for getting that booking.
Yeah.
The Roxy used to host one of the biggest gay dance nights in the world on Saturdays. So a lot of famous DJs got their start there as well.
I have to say that the Finn and Lake scene at the pawn shop is easily my favorite scene of the episode.
Oh, so good, man. Love the pawn shop scene.
Love that scene. I'm dropping the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, just a lot of fun.
Earring was hawked by Sunshine Smith, lives at 6789 Peekaboo Lane.
That's a fairy tale, friend.
Now that you read it back to me, it does sound a tad bit suspicious.
Play the tape, Einstein.
That's Sunshine.
Man, you know it's illegal for underage kids to pawn.
Hey, guy gotta eat.
You need to go on a diet. Stop the tape.
This girl doesn't weigh 85 pounds soaking wet. No way she could take Shelby down herself. Must have had friends.
Or family.
What's he talking about?
She said they were hungry, hadn't eaten in days, that her dad told her to pawn the earring.
So they're a homeless family.
A murder's how daddy brings home the bacon.
Lake, I don't understand why they couldn't figure out how to work him in.
It doesn't make any sense. He's so much fun in this scene.
He's so good.
And he and Finn are so great together.
Yeah, they have a really good back and forth.
Yep.
I mean, I like Munch. I'm not saying anything bad about Munch, but Munch, to me, is at the office, and he says some lines.
Also, he's nearing retirement age.
Exactly. Like Lake and Finn, when they're out interviewing somebody, they have a rapport. They have a chemistry. Yeah. It works really well, but this scene, fantastic. Really loved it.
So she pawned the earring, but Cole said they'd eat when it's time.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Way to dab them.
Yeah, no, that's really fucked up.
Oh, shit. There's the foot chase down the street. Sorry, I jumped ahead.
Yeah, you jumped ahead, but the pawn shop... Okay, so I need to look up the pawn shop really quick.
It's an Alphabet City.
Yeah, okay, so the pawn shop was in Alphabet City?
Yeah.
I know the shelter is in Alphabet... Okay, the pawn shop is in Alphabet City. Okay.
The pawn shop is near the shelter. That's how they reverse engineer finding Josie.
Yeah, that would make sense. Those are the only two locations in the whole episode that are even remotely near each other, because everything else is wildly far away in this one. We go to the shelter.
She tells him all about phalanx.
My question, Josh, is why is this like hobo street family in New York naming themselves after either a Macedonian military formation or right-wing Spanish death squads, which are kind of the two options here, or Maronite Christian Lebanese death squads? That's another option. A little weird choice for your bum family, I think. I mean, what are the politics of Cole Broderick?
Like, Cole's mythologizing of their existence is just fucking weird from start to finish.
Yeah.
Like, you know, oh, you guys are in Babylon, and then the Mick Jobs bullshit.
I know, it's very weird.
Oh, we have the freedom to be ourselves, and we have our own courts.
I think he's a Carlist, arch right-wing Catholic murder squad leader. I think that's what's going on here. I think he's trying to get Franco back in power.
Kind of. I mean, he killed 6 people. And for offenses like disrespect. What the fuck? I think the foot chase down the street was actually pretty decent.
No, I say stunts! Exclamation point.
Yeah.
We don't get to see stunts. Like, what I really thought when I first saw this, because I didn't look up the IMDb pages until far after, but I was like, is Tom Bishop's, well, Tarek Bishara, is he a stuntman?
Yeah.
But he's not. Right. And so I figure like, oh, maybe they just had a stuntman, so it's a little bit easier to do this, cheaper to no. They had a couple stunts in this episode, but yeah. So there's that foot chase.
I will note that during the foot chase, there were sure a lot of Saturns out on the street.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because they had 3 stunt drivers.
Yeah, you're probably right. They probably...
I'm definitely
yeah. So it was like there was the box truck, and then there was like
the box truck,
2 Saturn drivers.
Well, there was oncoming and then 2 separate behind, and then there was another vehicle that was in the mix. They figured if they cut away from Saturns enough that it wouldn't be evident that it was the same Saturn over and over.
So I spent most of my day yesterday trying to figure out where this occurred, that chase scene, because that was a very distinctive location. It was under this really elevated roadway with kind of these arching metal supports that are holding it up. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm about 98% sure that where they are here is actually, they're in Long Island City under the Queensboro Bridge, so which is also the 59th Street Bridge for Simon and Garfunkel fans. But that is over in Queens.
You just made me drop that in.
Yeah, so it is in the past, a more industrial area. On the other side of the bridge from Long Island City is the Queensboro Projects, which is one of the big housing projects in town. But I'm almost positive that's where that was. God, I spent way too much time looking for that. I looked like under every bridge in Manhattan. And I looked under every elevated section of the Henry Hudson Parkway, which is the elevated roadway on the west side, and it wasn't any of those. So I'm pretty sure it's this.
And that's just a location limitation. I mean, where the fuck are you going to shoot that, you know?
I think the deal with that is that, like, where they actually shot the scene, that's not really a real road.
That's my assumption. That's why they are able to
and
do
that's
that.
why it's hard for me to find it, because I couldn't actually get a street view of that angle. And so it's not a real road, so they were doing it on an already closed road. They didn't need to shut down traffic for it. Now, before that, we find their encampment, which is probably under the same bridge just around the corner.
If you got a location, you got a location.
Yeah, exactly. So Mae Whitman's holding this gutter Shih Tzu named Scout.
That dog is way too nice for these
This is
fucking gutter
one of
punks
the
to have.
fanciest dogs I've seen. And this SVU does this time and time again, where they have a shelter dog, and it's not just a purebred dog. It's a purebred dog that costs like $1,200 to buy one.
Yeah.
And they get this fucking Shih Tzu that's not even that ratty. You know, they maybe tussled it up with some dirt, but come on. That dog, you spend hours a day combing that dog.
Up with dirt.
And
there's no way the fucking handler lets them do that. The dog is not getting dirtied up at all.
I understand we're not running with the same showrunners as we were in 2007, but if Warren Light wants to add some cinema verite to the current or future seasons of SVU, and he wants a dog that actually looks like it could be a believable street dog, he needs to hit me up. I will give him a generous rate on Bandit, but Bandit will be perfect for this role. He's attractive and scrappy. So, I mean, ideal, guys. Anyways, back to the show. Oh, yeah, we tracked down the girl.
Josie, her life, holy shit, is it fucked.
Her life is really fucked. I would say art department did a good job of making her look extremely famished.
Makeup.
Yeah. Makeup, yeah.
HMU.
Yeah.
HMU.
Makeup did a bang-up job on her. She looked on the verge of death, frankly.
Yeah, she looked like she hung out with Oliver Twist.
Well, she kind of did.
But man, fuck, she had a raw deal. Mm-hmm. She's hitchhiking at 9.
She was getting raped every night on that trip, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's living by the way of the road.
Yeah, I guess.
Ask her, ask her cash.
Is that what Swayze was doing to Randy Travis and Black Dog?
Yeah. But yeah, tossed out by her mom because I guess she was too appealing for her mom's boyfriends. They had to put out from Arizona to New York, finds a family, and then is tortured by her father for 12 hours before having her eyes gouged out and getting a Glasgow smile.
Mm-hmm. She didn't really have a great run of things, did she?
No. And man, that fucking shot of her that they show Cole when they have Cole in custody finally.
Yeah.
With her eyes gouged out and the fucking, I can't believe they fucking showed that. I can't believe that got through S&P.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up shit, man. There's some Seven style gore.
Super gruesome. And that's an 11-year-old child that they're showing that happen to.
I mean,
I know that's an art department shot, but still, the way you're watching it, that's
it is us seeing a photo of it, right? So it's not us seeing the actual body, but yeah, it's pretty shocking.
It's
man.
super fucked.
It's pretty shocking.
I can't think of a more grotesque thing that I've seen on SVU.
I'm trying to think, but it's definitely up there. It's pretty brutal.
It's an 11-year-old child with eyes gouged out
and mouth slit ear to ear.
It's fucked.
That's pretty brutal. It's pretty bad, man.
I mean, we might see a body in decomp or something.
Yeah.
But this is extreme.
Yeah, post-death torture, mutilation.
Also, post Benson giving her a cookie that she'd already taken a bite out of. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I did. Well, and speaking of torture, the food torture scene was really something. Like, Cragen...
yeah, diabolical.
It's pretty diabolical, dude. Pretty diabolical to torture a child like that.
But Benson handed her the cookie. I did a double take.
Did Benson...
I was like, wait,
did
bite? Benson do that?
And then...
Benson took a bite out of that chocolate chip cookie, had it in her hand, and then handed it over to Josie. It was the same cookie. I verified. I went back, rewound, and paused it on it.
Did Josie take a bite?
Yes. There might have been a take where they cut the part where but she absolutely handed Josie the cookie that she'd taken a bite.
This is the sort of thing that's not happening on season 22, or if it is, Reddit is going to be fucking pissed. I tried to track down exactly which pizza this was, and I spent another long time doing this. And so it's a square slice.
Are you sure that was a square slice? It looked like Stabler had it folded.
No, it was 2 square slices on top of each other. He was holding one square slice with another square slice as the plate.
Okay.
I looked at it a bunch, but they call it grandma style, and oftentimes these square slices in New York will be upside down, so they go dough, cheese, sauce in a lot of these, and there's some classics. I believe this one, assuming that it came from someplace down by where the studios are, I think it either came from Prince Street Pizza or Nona's Lower East Side. Of course, it could come from someplace else, but those were the 2 from my deep dive into best square slices in New York that seemed like location and look kind of checked out. check them out. They both are highly rated, and people seem to love them. Okay, so moving on.
So at the Youth Crisis Center, Lake finds Josie's journals after Paige turns up dead. Finds Josie's journals and ties her fantastical stories to other open cases.
Yeah.
He's fucking slaying it here. Now, I will say that Josie's writing style is way too advanced for an 11-year-old.
Very metaphorical, it's whimsical, if you will, and very detailed about what happens to all of these people.
In very flowery prose.
Yeah, exactly. So this is when Homegirl shows up, right?
Yeah, Cassidy runs in, where's my daughter? She very quickly asks for a deal and gives up the bodies.
All these locations.
Gives up the 3 bodies that were already put in the ground.
These bodies are spread about as far as they possibly could be. We have the first body is in Riverside Park. So this is the Upper West Side of Manhattan. We've been there many, many times in Munch My Benson. The next body is in Prospect Park, all the way down in South Brooklyn. A very large park down there. Take you a long time to get between those two. About, 45 minutes probably. The next one is even further away, Van Cortlandt Park, which is in the Bronx. Not very accessible by train. It's where the Bronx Zoo is. To actually get there, you need to take a train and then hike. So these kids spent a long time to get there. And then after that, we get even further. They're up in Riverdale, next to the highway, way the fuck up in the Bronx, basically in Westchester County. And then finally, the last places they're going to a squatters camp in Astoria, that is in Queens, and another body drops in Fort Greene. Right?
Fort Greene is where the warehouse is, where Elliot and Cole fight.
So basically, these bums, I guess they're turnstile jumping, which is harder to do than you think in New York. They have invested a lot more money into preventing people from turnstile jumping than they have in making sure that the trains work and don't break down in tunnels under the river. They have cops at all these stations. They have like sort of things that open and close. I guess it's doable. People do it all the time. But to really depend on it as a mode of transit seems a little far-fetched. And to walk, I mean, we're talking like weeks to get to these different places walking. But they get around town, man.
So since we all know that Cassidy's story is a lie, it seems kind of crazy that she's this animated about her past and her fake mother turning her out for drug money.
Yeah, well, I guess, you tell a story long enough, you gotta believe it.
But she's like very vehement about all of this. I don't know. I mean, good acting, but I don't know that it makes sense necessarily.
I mean, again, going back to the crisis center, and we see their photos on the wall, like, there's something going on with her, with her photo.
For sure.
Which I thought those photos were very well done by art department. They took some artful shots of them.
I bet one of them got a scholarship from the photos they took.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could easily convince the city of Austin to give you a grant for several $1,000s for that selection of photos. Don't know anybody who's done that.
Whatever could you be referring? So I thought the fight between Stabler and Cole was good. There's good stunt work going on here too. Like, they really brought it with a stunts this week.
I know, another really good scene. Like, again, I don't know if it's like Bashara and Maloney like work together in some sort of like stunt class or something, but they really brought it, both of them. They went hard in both of those scenes.
I mean, I'm assuming both of those are... Well, I guess now they're in the... Yeah,
no, I was watching... The chase was definitely both of the actors. Like, even when he jumped up onto the truck, it was Bashara. I'm almost positive.
I don't think there's any way that he actually did the jump. He's maybe hanging from the truck.
You're right. Maybe hanging.
I think the jump is from behind.
You're right. I don't know if we see it that well.
I don't think there's any way that he would have been doing that. They could have strapped him in pretty well to where he's hanging off the tailgate, but...
He was hanging off the back, yeah. But then when they're fighting with the chain, I think it was the two of them.
Yeah. So the smiley chain, like, I know it's a thing. I think it's either called, well, I sort of looked it up. I don't feel good about this, but it's either called a chain lock or a smiley. I guess they could also call it a smiley chain. It's stupid regardless.
Yeah,
hearing them keep talking about it.
They talk about it a lot.
As a smiley chain, they say it like 4 times, and that's 4 times too many in my book.
Bashara had a lot of eyeliner on. Did you notice that? Or is it just me?
A lot of guy liner. Yeah. No, Jackie noticed too. She's like, oh man, it's weird that they have so much guy liner out on the streets.
I know. And it's also weird. They did such a good job of making Mae Whitman look like a gutter punk. Like, I buy it. I feel like that girl has asked me for change on Guadalupe and Austin, you know? But Bashara, not quite as much. Like,
I mean, he didn't shave for a few days.
Yeah, but his hair was basically perfect. It didn't even look like dusty or anything.
It was mussed up. I think the other issue is that his hair is just dark.
Yeah.
And so it just looks greasy and that's it.
It doesn't even look that greasy, though. It just looks like he has some product in it, is what it looks like.
And then it's mussed up.
They needed to do something with that. Give him a hat or something. Give him some kind of different look, because he looked very pretty for that role.
Now, they jump right into court right away. No lead up, no nothing. She's on the stand, and holy shit, does he go big in the courtroom.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, shoot your shot, you know, like, fuck it. I'm not gonna blame him.
Yeah.
But he goes really big. I feel like he took a mega acting class from Nick Cage, but didn't really know how to choose his moments.
I don't know, man. I thought that the messianic bum serial killer family patriarch story was a lot more interesting than the rich girl turned poor girl murderer angle, which is what it ends up being. So I was totally fine with the mega acting messianic bum killer.
I don't have a problem with it's just it seems I don't know. I'm probably just being overcritical.
I mean, I think you're just going like that was out of left field and wild, but at least that was fun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when he's jumping over the fucking table in the courtroom is hilarious.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was. Do you think that she left her parents because they named her Helen circa 1990? It's like about 50 years too late for that name.
Yeah, seriously, or 2,500 years too late, probably.
Yeah, more like that. But, I mean, they smothered her with rules.
Mm-hmm. They sure did.
Oh, the horror. Okay, so St. Winifred's, I looked up St. Winifred. Mm-hmm. She was the daughter of a Welsh chieftain in the 7th century whose decision to become a nun so enraged her suitor, and I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of this because it's fucking Welsh, but it looks like Caradog.
We can get Max to pronounce Welsh, if you remember.
It's probably Carado or something like that.
Yeah, my 10-month-old child doesn't speak English, but he does speak Welsh right now. So.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. But he was so enraged that she decided to become a nun that he decapitated her. Mm-hmm. It's said that a healing spring appeared where her head fell. Her uncle, Saint Buno, then reattached her head and brought her back to life.
Seems plausible.
Yeah, totally happened. So then he saw Caradog or Carado or however the fuck you say his name, leaning on his sword and invoked the chastisement of heaven, and Caradog fell dead on the spot. She was one of 7 people that Saint Buno, her uncle, raised from the dead.
But was she then remartyred later?
No, she martyred and then, got to be cool.
I thought that,
she died.
But she was raised from the dead.
This happened.
But she died, but then she came back.
But this happened.
I thought you had to be martyred to be beatified. You can't just pop back up, Lazarus isn't a saint. He's just a dead guy.
Yeah, but she was decapitated.
Yeah, but then she was recapitated.
This is real.
She was recapitated, Josh.
This is real. By a miracle, though.
Yeah, but anyways, totally plausible.
I'm certain that it happened. I'm on the wiki page for St. Winifred. Given the late date of the earliest surviving written accounts of Winifred's life, her existence has been doubted since the 19th century.
No.
She is not recorded in any Welsh pedigree of saints, nor in the 13th century calendar of Welsh saints. Huh. There is, however, evidence of her cult from centuries before the appearance of her first hagiography. 2 small pieces of an oak reliquary from the 8th century were discovered in 1991 and identified based on earlier drawings as belongings to the Arch Gwenfrewi.
Yeah. Sure. I'm sure that was close.
Not close at all. It's Gwenfrew. The reliquary of Winifred. The reliquary probably contain an article of clothing or another object associated with the saint, but not her bones. It provides good evidence for her having been recognized as a saint very soon after her death, and thus of her historicity. The reliquary may even be the earliest surviving testimony to the formal cultus of any Welsh saint. The veneration of Winifred as a martyr saint is attested for the 12th century.
I don't ever spend much time thinking about the Christianization of the Welsh people, but it's got to be fairly interesting topic, I imagine. I mean, they did hold out against the fucking English dogs for a long time. So there's got to be a history there that is probably fascinating.
And totally based in reality.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. She was decapitated.
But she was recapitated. That's my problem. It wasn't even her miracle. It was somebody else's miracle.
No, the miracle was the healing spring.
Oh, that's right. But did the healing spring stay a healing spring after she was recapitated?
I believe it did. That's why there's a cult. Okay, we really went down the dumbest rabbit hole here.
If I die and there's a hot tub, can I be made a saint? I mean, is that how it works?
Well, is a hot tub a time machine?
Maybe. That's a good point. Yeah.
If so, then yes, obviously, because that's a miracle. So Shelby was going to blow up Helen's spot, and then Liv turns Cole's coat against Helen. Cassidy goaded him into killing Shelby. We've got a Texas case that's referenced here that Novak's building everything upon.
Yeah.
I've got the article from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram that I will post in the notes.
Is it legit? It's a real case that they're referencing?
Yeah, it's a real case.
Nice. Yeah.
So they're referencing Tracy Roberson.
Okay.
She lived in Arlington. She was having a 2-month affair, and when her husband found her in a vehicle with Devin LaSalle, Daryl Roberson shot and killed him because she said she was being raped. The grand jury declined to indict Roberson in the shooting. Daryl Roberson. Tracy Roberson was sentenced to 5 years for manslaughter. She must serve at least 2.5 years before she's eligible for parole. She faced probation to 20 years in prison.
Yeah.
You can check the article. It's pretty straightforward. It's exactly kind of what you think. They met in a Walmart parking lot in the fall of 2006, where all true romances begin.
Yeah. So something I've noticed in our recent run of Munch My Bensons, we have occasionally seen non-Novak ADAs, but we haven't seen a courtroom episode featuring a non-Novak ADA in a very long time. You know, like the last one we watched, we had Carisi, but Carisi is in it for maybe 5 minutes.
Well, he was in the episode for more, but he's sort of helping move the case forward.
Exactly. I don't even like the courtroom episodes, but I would just like to see one with somebody else, like with Cabot or with Barba or
Cabot. Yeah,
fucking anybody. I'm just, Judith Light when she takes over, or the Sonia Paxton.
You don't want to watch a Sonia Paxton.
I know, but I'm just really sick of Novak.
Yeah.
So when
I hear you, we've drawn a lot of Novak.
Like, I think Diane Neal's good, and I like Novak as a character. We've just gotten a lot of Novak in the court recently, and sometimes she pulls some bullshit that is really annoying. And when Mae Whitman turns to her and says, "I hate your guts," I kind of
like, why is all of her hate trained on Novak here? That doesn't make any sense.
I know, it really doesn't.
Like, I hate your guts. Where the fuck did that come from?
Like, it seems like you hate your parents, you hate your classmates, you hate your messianic bum serial murderer husband, fake husband. I guess maybe she just hates everybody, man. I think that's the problem. Because she's bland.
Yeah, she's bland. Egg? Let's get to rating this.
Let's rate this one. We always rank these episodes every week so they can all fit together and we know where they match up. We do it on a 4 criteria scale, 10 points for each one of those, and we get a composite score. So we do it on the overall quality, the guests, the depth and breadth of lives ruined, and how problematic it was. So let's just go in order. Josh, how good was this episode overall? What did you think of it?
I think it's fun.
I agree. It had those stunts.
It had stunts, which are rare, and the stunts seem to be, especially for TV, network TV, seem to be pulled off. They looked good. There was, general excitement.
Yeah.
The left turns, they make sense for the most part.
Yeah, they do. They're telegraphed. It's just...
Well, but they're not super telegraphed. I mean, they're telegraphed if you know who Mae Whitman is and all of that.
Yeah.
Like, you see the girl in the picture, she's going to come into it.
Yeah.
But it's not so telegraphed that you're like, oh, okay, you figure this out.
Yeah.
And it's not so out of left field that you're like, wait, where the fuck did...
Well, that's
it's
what
not
I mean.
like
It's
the Congo coming in.
Yeah, exactly. It's like telegraphed in a way that does fit and it does make sense.
Yeah, but it's still surprising.
Yeah.
There's still, like, at the act break, there's still like a twist that you're like, oh, okay. So I think it works in all of those regards.
What classic story is that? The Prince and the Pauper? Is that what it is? It's the Prince and the Pauper, right? where the prince and the pauper, they look like each other and they trade places, and so basically trading places is what this is.
It is.
And but I have to say that I feel like Mae Whitman's, I don't know, I kind of groaned though when that happened, because it makes sense, but I think it's less fun than like the Cole Broderick story, which is crazy.
But I still think it works because you're seeing him actually get played.
Yeah.
She's oddly toppling the patriarchy.
It's true, and it does like provide him a platform for losing his shit completely, which is fun. Yeah.
And I don't think it's like an all-time great episode.
No, but it was a lot of fun.
But it was pretty good.
It was fun.
I'd be inclined to say like a 7.
I think a 7 works. I think it was a lot of fun. I totally enjoyed watching it, and it wasn't as flawed as some of the other ones that we really like are. Like, for instance, we gave a 7 just recently to Slaves, the Andrew McCarthy one, and that one was really fun, but really flawed, and I think this one is less flawed than that one was, just with the way they tried to structure.
Well, I mean, that's the difference between a Robert Palm season and really hit the stride Neil Baer.
Yeah, exactly. So the guests, I mean, this one, they were pretty good guests.
Yeah.
Mae Whitman is recognizable. She's not Andrew McCarthy, but she's recognizable, and I thought she was good. I thought Bashar was a lot of fun as Cole, even if he wasn't great, but he was a lot of fun, and he did a lot.
I thought Madeline Taylor was really good as Josie.
Yeah, she was great.
Like, it's rare that we have a kid actor that's this good.
No, and she had to sit there silently acting how hungry she was, and it really, it was really believable.
It landed.
It really landed. So, yeah, she was really good.
They clearly did not let her eat lunch. Patricia Charbonneau didn't have a lot to do, but she was good.
Yeah, no.
And then Jeremy Jordan and Emily Mead were both really good.
They were both fantastic.
Like, Doug Walshin was such a piece of shit. Yeah, and both the pawn shop owner...
Michael Mantell, that was his name.
Yeah, the pawn shop owner and the punk rock kid were both good.
They were both great in their short roles. I mean, how he was tearfully saying how hot it was that they were banging with the parents in the next
it's so
room.
Great.
Fantastic.
It was so hot.
So what, I mean,
I'm inclined to say like an 8.
I was going to say 8 too. Yeah, I'm totally inclined to say 8. Great. So is it problematic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of everything that happens to Josie.
Jesus Christ. Everything that happens to Josie is a nightmare.
And then we see the picture of her.
Yeah.
Like the mock-up of her with her eyes gouged out and her face cut.
But then also that one shithead, the mattress line. Oh my God.
I mean, everything coming out of Doug Walshin's mouth, everything coming out of that character's mouth after he's exposed for being a complete piece of shit.
It's horrifying.
Horrifying. I mean, the whole punk spunk in her in her underwear.
Yeah. Warner going, semen in the panties.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, so this is pretty problematic. I don't think it's a 10.
It's not like one of those 10s that we've had recently, but it's pretty problematic.
But it's like a 7 or an 8,
It's got to be like
right?
a 7 or an 8.
Well, the Michael Emerson one, Ritual, we said was an 8. I feel like this is probably more a 7.
Yeah.
I think this is a touch below that.
If that one's an 8, then this is a 7.
The Diora Baird Congo one was a 7. And I think we went there because...
this is comparable.
Yeah, I think this is comparable to that. All right, now the last one being Depth and Breadth and Lives Ruined. Like, this guy has dropped a lot of bodies.
6.
Yeah, he's dropped 6 bodies. The girl has played a lot of people with this pretty dark lie.
Yeah.
That
goes into the problematic part too.
It does.
Her fucking lying about her. I mean, not that I think it changes the score, but her lying about her past and saying that her mom turned her out for drug money.
It's pretty fucked up. I mean, Josie's dead, right? But still, goddamn, like everything that happens to her is so bad. And we don't know about the rest of Josie's bum family. Now, to be fair, I saw those kids scurry and I looked at each one of them. Except for Josie, they all looked really well fed. So I don't know what kind of fucked up game Cole was playing with her. He was just selectively starving one of his quote unquote children. It's pretty fucked up. But yeah, it's pretty fucked up. 6 bodies. Just the horrible things they do to Josie. It's like an 8 or a 9, isn't it? It's up there.
Yeah.
We give a lot of high marks to this category.
I'd say 8.
We have a lot of 8s. The Wentworth Miller Mahershala Ali was an 8. The Diora Baird was an 8, and the Michael Emerson one was an 8. It's kind of in the neighborhood with those.
Yeah, it's comparable to all that. Yeah.
You might be able to see where this is going. It's a pretty highly rated episode.
Yeah, oddly.
And I didn't know that it was going to get there, honestly, the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, I think, appreciated some of the things about it more. Yeah, because it's 7.5. It's right there with Brotherhood, which was the one with Gary Cole that we watched recently. There was also, we felt like we rated it too highly. The second Connor Paolo episode was also a 7.5. That's Webb. So I don't think it's like that. I think sometimes we're flawed with rating things appropriately. Just the nature of our scoring system doesn't take into account every factor. So sometimes when people don't die, when the bodies don't drop, they don't rack up the points in quite the same way.
I mean, that is a thing.
Yeah.
You know, and there are 6 fucking bodies that got dropped.
There are, and they kind of died for pretty weird reasons.
I mean, Paige had no reason to die. All she does is fucking help people.
Yeah.
She is just the fucking sort of the head counselor at the fucking youth crisis center, and she gets fucking got because she helped a girl.
The debutante didn't need to die either. Fucking A, man. All she wanted to do was...
she did.
What? She just wanted to bang that punk rocker. She was cool, man.
She just wanted to get sticky fingers.
Oh, fantastic. So I think on that note, it's time to roll the next episode, Josh.
Oh, fuck. That's probably the name of the episode.
Yeah,
what the hell? Okay, so.
Oh, I hate that part.
Counselor, it's Chinatown. Season 21, episode 7.
Interesting.
This is all brought to you by the randomizer episode .lol that we use that was fueled by Flet when I spun the fucking tape and... Bill and Ted happened somewhere back there.
Whoa, that is the name of it. Counselor, it's Chinatown.
Counselor, it's Chinatown, which is funny because we were just talking about how the Bronx is Chinatown in the last episode.
Yeah.
So this is, again, season 21, episode 7. The SVU joins an undercover task force in busting a human trafficking ring.
Interesting. Let's see. Directed by Leslie Hope, Martin and... Light wrote it.
You know who Leslie Hope is, right?
It's super familiar.
Men at Work.
Oh, really? She directed it?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. That's fortuitous. Josh just watched one of her classic films.
I did. So this next one features... I had to go to the fandom page because IMDb didn't have any of the guest stars listed. This one will feature... Oh, it's got Bureau Chief Vanessa Hadid, who is Carisi's boss. She kind of sucks. I mean, the character's interesting, I guess, but the character is like designed to suck.
Okay.
Margaret Cho is in this episode.
Yeah.
That's sadly the only actor that I know.
It looks like it's an Asian smuggling ring or something. It's kind of like...
Presumably, there are a lot of Asian names.
Yeah, it looks like it's SVU as doing Black Rain is what it looks like to me.
Man, does that mean we have to watch Black Rain too?
I mean, have to.
So another new one, which I guess is sort of interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. Again, this will be my second ever Cat to Mean episode. So awesome. Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Josh. And I need to get out of here because I need to drive through hopefully not bad traffic to get home.
I think you'll be fine.
So until then, guys, keep on munching. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, and make sure to rate and review the podcast.
Please.
Follow us on the socials. Yeah, munch the fuck out of our Bensons.
Please.
Ms. Anna's in her room.
Were her parents?
In Tahiti for 3 weeks, then Paris for the spring collections. Ms. Anna, you have visitors.
Excuse me.
You can burn a candle for a promotion, or pull your underwear out of your cheeks. You can sage your room, or wear a 7. Superstition makes you sigh.
What the hell?
What are you doing here?
Get dressed.
Come on, we'll keep the party going down to the station.
Why didn't you tell us that you were in the park with Shelby?
Because I was getting wasted.
Oh, you need liquid courage to kill your best friend?
I would never kill Shelby.
But you bang her friend.
That's what guys do. Anna's just a mattress.
Doug and I are in love.